So today we're going to be doing our osmosis in water beads lab. So I have a whole container of water beads here, and they have been inflating, they've been hydrating in a mystery solution of sugar water. So I know what's in there, but you don't know what concentration of sugar I have in this water. And so these beads are filling up with water, and there's some sugar in that water as well. So what we're going to do is we are going to make some different solutions of sugar water, and we're going to see if the water that's in our water beads already is going to leave the water beads, which would tell us that they are in a hypertonic solution, or if that water is going to go into the water beads, which would mean that the water beads are in a hypotonic solution. So I'm going to be making up the following concentrations of sugar water. So in the first one, I'm going to put 0 grams of sugar. That's just going to be my distilled water. Then I'm going to add 0.25 grams of sugar to the next one. And what I'm doing is I'm just getting this to total 100 total grams so that I have the percentage of sugar water here. So this is going to be 0.25%, 0.5%, 1%, 2%, and 4%. And what I did here is I just doubled the amount each time so that I'm just getting more and more concentrated in my sugar water. So that's what I'm going to do now, and we're going to speed this up. So for this next part, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be finding the initial mass of the water beads. So I'm going to put 5 water beads in each of these containers, and I want to know what all of those water beads weigh together. And so I'm going to be recording that here. I am then going to put a little label on each of my containers so that I know what the starting mass is right on that container in case I lose this whiteboard or it gets erased for some reason. And I'm going to need to dry off the water beads as I go because I want the mass of just the water beads. I don't want water beads plus like some extra water that's sitting on them. So let's go ahead and take these initial mass measurements. All right, so now what I have is I have 6 containers, and they each say the concentration of the sugar and the initial mass. And we're gonna let these sit for about a half an hour, and then we're gonna see what happened. So we'll be back in 30 minutes. And we're back. So it's been 30 minutes. I've had my water beads sitting here in their different solutions. And just as a reminder, if they have gained mass, then that means that water is going into the water beads. And water always moves towards the hypertonic solution. So in that case, we know that the initial concentration that the water bead was hydrated in is more concentrated than whatever the water is that I started with. So this is my 0%. So that means there's no sugar in this. And if there's no sugar in this, then we would expect that this would be hypotonic to whatever the solution that the water beads were hydrated in. So that means we expect these ones to gain mass. Now, if I've done this right, then my 4% should lose mass. And that's because these ones are in a more concentrated sugar solution than they were initially hydrated in. So that means that water is going to move from the water beads into this sugar solution. And that means that those water beads are going to lose mass. So we are going to take those final mass recordings now. And again, we're going to speed this up for you. So we're done taking those initial masses, and what we can see here is that this is the initial mass, this is the final mass, and so at this point right here, we go from the mass increasing to the mass decreasing. And what that's going to tell me is that somewhere between 0.5 and 1% is what these were initially hydrated in. Because the isotonic solution, the solution that has the same concentration as sugar as what I hydrated the water beads in, if I had put them in an isotonic solution, they wouldn't have gained mass and they wouldn't have lost mass. So in class, you're going to be doing some calculations with this, and you're going to have to graph this so that we can see it a little bit more clear and we can find out what we actually think that number is. Right now, we just have an estimate. It's somewhere between 0.5 and 1. But after graphing this data and finding the percent change, you're going to be able to get a much better idea about what concentration I hydrated these water beads in. Thanks, everyone. Bye.